Dear friends, this is Srinivas from California, United States. For those who are curious about what's going on in United States with the new president Joe Biden, please listen to him in his own words. I just re-narrated that into Indian English. I hope you enjoy that. Please subscribe and give a thumbs up to my videos, and also please press the bell icon so that you get my new videos as soon as I publish them. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Before I begin today's announcement, let me take a few moments to thank all the law enforcement folks for all they did, military personnel from all across the federal, state, and local agencies that secured yesterday's inaugural activities. And a special thanks to members of National Guard from around the country. It was an unprecedented situation. Hopefully, will never have to be renewed again. And everyone handled it with the most professional duty and honor that could be expected. As President and Commander-in-Chief, I always revered their service and that of their families. But now, today's announcement. Vice President Harris and I were joined by members of our COVID-19 response team, and Dr. Tony Fauci, our Chief COVID Medical Advisor, Javier Becerra, our nominee for Secretary of Health and Human Services, Dr. Vivek Murthy, our nominee for Surgeon General, Dr. Rachel Walensky, she is going to be the Director, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and Dr. Marcella Nunes-Smith, who will be leading our equity work on COVID response, and Jeff Johnson, Natalie Collin, who are managing this whole effort. Yesterday, during my inaugural address, I offered a silent prayer and a silent prayer. It was both silent and silent. I thought it was important people understand what had happened, that we all pay tribute to our prayers for those 4 lakh Americans who have lost their lives in this pandemic. On Tuesday, Jill and I, Kamala and Doug, we stood at a reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial and joined Americans all across the country to remember those 4 lakh moms and dads, husbands and wives, children, sons, daughters. And I said at that moment that to heal, we must remember. To heal, we must remember. It's important to do that as a nation. We must also act, not just remember. We had the past year, we couldn't rely on the federal government to act with urgency and focus and coordination we needed. And we have seen the tragic cost of that failure. 3,000 to 4,000 deaths per day. Today, more than 2 crore 40 lakhs Americans, 2 crore 40 lakh Americans have been infected. To put that in context, America makes up 4% of world's population, but 25% of the world's confirmed COVID-19 cases and nearly 20% of all the COVID-19 deaths. We have 4% of the world's population. The pandemic has disproportionately impacted on blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are about 4 times as likely to be hospitalized and nearly 3 times more likely to die from COVID-19 pandemic than white Americans. Hospitals are out of beds. Businesses are closed for good. Schools are caught in between. And while the vaccine provides so much hope, the rollout has been dismal failure thus far. So, I understand the despair and frustration of so many Americans and how they are feeling. I understand why many governors, mayors, county officials, tribal leaders feel like they are left on their own without a clear national plan to get them through this crisis. Let me be very clear. Things are going to continue to get worse before they get better. The memorial we held 2 nights ago will not be our last one, unfortunately. The death toll will likely top 5 lakhs next month, and the cases will continue to mount. We don't get into this mess overnight, and it's going to take months for us to turn things around. But let me be equally clear, we will get through this. We will defeat this pandemic, and to a nation waiting for action, let me be the clearest on this point. Help is on the way. Today I am unveiling a national strategy on COVID-19 and executive action to beat this pandemic. This plan reflects the ideas I set forward during the campaign and further refined over the past 3 months. It consists of my transitions team, the task force, Tony Fauci, and the team here today and other experts put this plan together. Our national strategy is comprehensive. It's based on science, not politics. It's based on truth, not denial, and it's detailed. You can review this entire plan by going to whitehouse.gov. It's so detailed, it's over 198 pages and complete detail of what we are going to do. Our plan starts with mounting an aggressive, safe and effective vaccination campaign to meet our goal of administrating 10 crore shots in our first 100 days in office. We're on day 1. This will be one of the greatest operational challenges our nation has ever undertaken, and I am committed to getting it done. We are committed to getting it done. And as I explained last week, we will move heaven and earth to get more people vaccinated for free and create more places for team to get vaccinated, to mobilize more medical team to get shots in people's arms, and to increase vaccine supply and get it out the door as fast as possible. Yesterday we got started. We directed the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to start standing up the first federally supported community vaccination centers with a goal of standing up 100 centers within the next month. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention will launch the federal pharmacy program to make vaccines available to communities in their local pharmacies, beginning early within, I think, by the 7th or 8th of February or any very early February. We will also task the Department of Health and Human Services to prepare and expand the pool of medical professionals who can administer the vaccine, and to ensure we have enough vaccinators, the people doing the vaccines, to meet the nation's needs and quickly. In addition to this effort, our administration will be asking Congress to fund for the funds to grow the public health workforce. We also are going to take immediate steps to partner with the governors, mayors and other local officials who have been talking all along, who are on the front lines of this fight. We directed FEMA to establish a COVID response license for each state, which means every state will have a point person at the federal level to maximize cooperation between the federal government and the states, and where it falls short to be made known immediately. This is a model we used to respond to Hurricane Sandy, which I was deeply involved with. And in just a few moments, I am going to sign a declaration to immediately begin reimbursing states 100% for the use of their National Guards to help COVID relief efforts, something Democrats and Republican governors alike have called for. But the brutal truth is that it's going to take months before we can get the majority of Americans vaccinated. So, while we increase vaccinations, we're going to take steps necessary now to slow the spread of the disease as well. One of our 100-day challenge is asking the American people. Our national plan launches a full-scale wartime effort to address the supply shortages by ramping up production in protective equipment, syringes, needles, you name it. When I say wartime, people kind of look at me like, wartime? As I said last night, 4 lakhs of Americans have died. That's more than that have died in all of World War II. 4 lakhs. This is a wartime undertaking. Today, I'm signing an executive action to use the Defense Production Act and all other available authorities to direct all federal agencies and private industry to accelerate the making everything that's needed to protect, test, vaccinate, and take care of our people. We have already identified suppliers and we are working with them to move the plan forward. Now look, our strategy includes a plan to safely reopen schools and businesses while protecting our workers. Today, we are directing the Department of Education and Department of Health and Human Services to immediately provide schools and communities with clear guidance and resources to safely reopen the schools and child care centers. We are putting, and by the way, when you do that, think of all the people who can get back to work, be able to get back to work, all the mothers and single fathers staying at home taking care of their children. We're going to put the full force of the federal government behind expanding testing by launching a COVID-19 pandemic testing board. This effort will ensure that we get testing to where it is needed and where they need it most, helping schools and businesses reopen safely and protecting the most vulnerable, like those who live in long-term care facilities. And for the millions of workers, many of whom are people of color, immigrants, and low-wage workers who continue to put their lives on the line to keep this country going through the pandemic, I'm calling for the enforcement of a more stringent worker safety standards so that you are better protected from this virus while you have to continue to work to protect the rest of us. Our plan also protects those most at risk and works for everyone of all races and urban and rural communities alike. Today, I am formalizing the Health Equity Task Force that we announced in the transition, led by the brilliant Dr. Marcella Nunez-Smith, who is going to ensure that quality is at the core of every decision we make. That includes addressing vaccine hesitancy and building trust in communities as well as fighting disinformation campaigns that are already underway. Above all, our plan is to restore public trust. We will make sure that scientists and public health experts will speak directly to you. That's why you're going to be hearing a lot from Dr. Fauci again, not from the president, but from the real, genuine experts and scientists. We're going to make sure they work free from political interference and that they make decisions strictly based on science and healthcare alone. Science and health alone, not what the political consequences are. The Vice President Harris and I and our entire administration always be honest and transparent with you about both the good news and the bad. We will level with you when we make a mistake. We will straight up say what happened. And I said at the outset, the honest truth is we're still in a dark winter of this pandemic. It's going to get worse before it gets better. It's going to take many months to get where we need to be. Progress in our plan will take time to measure as people getting infected today, why they don't show up in case counts for weeks, and those who perish from this disease die weeks after their exposure. Despite the best intentions, we're going to face setbacks, which I will always explain to you. But I also know we can do this if we come together. That's why ultimately our plan is based on unity and all of us acting as one nation. It requires families and neighbors looking out for one another, healthcare providers and businesses and civic and religious and civil rights organizations and unions all relying together on a common purpose with urgency and purpose and resolve. It requires reassuring our global leadership, which is why I took an action yesterday for the United States to rejoin the World Health Organization and to re-establish our global pandemic office in the National Security Council. It requires Congress coming together to provide the necessary funding in the COVID relief package and the American Rescue Plan that I will soon be sending to the Congress. I know these bold practical steps will not come cheaply, but failing to do so will cost us so much more dearly. I look forward to working with members of both parties in the Congress. We are in a national emergency and it's time we treat it like one. Together, the national plan as the United States of America. As I said yesterday in my inaugural address, there are moments in history when more is asked of a particular generation, more is asked of us as Americans than other times. We are in that moment now. History is going to measure whether we are up to the task. I believe we are. The American people have given us so much already, but I believe they are ready to set big goals and pursue them with courage, conviction, and honesty, because the health of the nation is literally at stake. It's not hyperbole. I am convinced the American people are ready as well. to spare no effort, no expense to get this done. What could be more important? The more people we vaccinate and the faster we do it, the sooner we can put this pandemic behind us, and the sooner we can build our economy back and build it back better and get back to our lives and to our loved ones. We can do this. We can do this if we stand together as fellow Americans and as the United States of America. So God bless those lost souls in this pandemic and their families and all they left behind. May God bless all of you on the front lines who define the best of who we are as Americans. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to go over to this desk and sign these executive actions. But again, this is a plan. This is a plan. You can go online and get, I know it's a lot of heavy reading, but it's all laid out in stark detail here. Thank you.